All right, we are live in the Empowered Mom Studios, and my dear friend and mentor and adopted dad, Donald, told me and everybody else in our call just earlier to go and have the fun. So that's what I'm doing. I am having fun. In fact, that is the main purpose of every single live stream that I put out on my social media. This is fun for me. That's why I tie it into what I do and I tie it into my insights because learning is fun, getting insights is fun, and transferring that wisdom has always been fun. And getting on camera and talking and just sharing is fun. And there are people in life that say that life is serious, that life is not supposed to be fun. Life is work, that work is not supposed to be fun. It's work. And if you're having fun, you're obviously not doing things right. You're not being productive. And I am going to call bullshit on that. Oops. Did I just say that? Yes, I did. In fact, you know what? I refuse to do anything if it's not fun. If I can't find the fun and the joy in it, it's probably not for me. And a lot of people will be like, well, life is drudgery and it's like I'll sleep when I'm dead or I'll have fun when I retire. And they're usually the people that don't know how to find the fun when it's time for their day off. I, on the other hand, no. In fact, I basically look at each day, no matter how much stuff I have to do, like, how can I have fun today? How can I make what I'm doing fun? What interesting, magical thing is going to happen? And this is the case even when I have a headache, even when my energy is sapped, even when it looks like all of my big plans have been broken because the universe is doing its thing with the solar flares, like it's been doing for the last several weekends, where I'm just so freaking tired. In fact, last weekend, I went to the beach with the kids and I couldn't even have much joy there because I was just so tired. And I was also feeling some emotions that were just coming up. They kind of just came to the surface. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. Like I'd had a fun weekend planned, but this isn't fun. And I need to change what I'm doing. We need to go home because this is just too, like, I can't be here. And we had to go home after a few hours. I did my best and it just wasn't going to happen that day. I was just too tired. So I went home and the kids and we found fun a different way. We ended up, I think I ordered some snacks and we had that. And we also watched some shows and I might have watched the kids play some video games, but I was just exhausted. Sometimes I get these feelings like the downloads just come in and it's just, I'm so dizzy. I'm so tired. I have the headaches. And I'm thinking, how can I make this fun? Why do I do this? Well, because when I was pregnant with Michaela, that could have been a really crappy pregnancy. Despite the fact that I was having my empowered birth, I had heartburn. I had her kicking my ribs constantly. I had a lot of hip and back pain. And there was a lot of emotional stuff that was happening outside of that too. So like it was not a fun pregnancy in this terms of discomfort. And it was still the best experience because I had had this idea. It's like, even in this misery, where's the learning opportunity? Where's the fun? So one of the things I do with my clients is like, if they're not enjoying their pregnancy, I'm going to find ways for them to find that fun in it. The fun of challenging the medical system, the fun of getting their partner to change their mind, the fun of creating that birth plan, the fun of dealing with these new changes that are going on in their bodies from day to day and waiting for labor, the fun in it. It's like, okay, yeah, maybe baby's not coming for another few weeks. Let's find some fun things for you to do while you're waiting so that you're not miserable and you're not hating it the whole time. Because if you're hating it the whole time, first of all, that's also translating to it might feel like it's a lot longer. Whereas if you're having fun, things always go by a lot faster. So this is true in everything. This is why whistle while you work. It's like it's you're basically going to get into song and things are going to move a lot faster and you're having fun doing it. I sing as I do dishes. I sing and I have music playing when I'm cleaning the house. Sometimes I'll sing at the top of my lungs. I'll get into a dance routine and my son is looking at me like, "What's wrong with you?" And I'm like, "How much time have you got?" Because I'm not going to stop. I'm going to still have my fun. And I do this with everything because you know what? Life is way too short. You don't know how long it's going to last. Now, do you want to be happy and like, or at least feeling alive and not miserable the whole time? Like, you don't have to be happy 24/7. And at the same time, you want to have like 80% happiness and maybe 20% sadness. And if it's too much of sadness and not enough happy, then that's when life gets hard. So I found fun even in cleaning the soot off of my damaged things from the fire. I found fun even in, well, I love building my funnels in my business. I love writing the emails. I love building the website. Some people might think that that's the drudgery, and I find it fun. I find it fun to write reports. I find it fun to write a long book. Anyway, the thing is that if you're not having fun in your parenting, you're doing it wrong. If you're not having fun in your relationship, there's something that needs to be tweaked. And sometimes it's not you. Sometimes it really is the other person. Let me just say that. It's like if you're having fun, if you're having a blast and the other person is just miserable all the freaking time and they just keep trying to piss on your parade and make you be normal, it's never going to be any different. Like you have to recognize that. Same with your friendships. If you're having fun and the other people around you are like, "Oh, can't you just be normal? Can't you just be serious?" It's not a good fit. So this is the thing though, is like you see little kids out there and they're just doing their thing. And then slowly that gets to be like, you need to be serious. And Donald was talking about this today on our weekly call. It'll be up on YouTube later. It was really good though, because he was talking about Christopher Robin. And I noticed something. It's like, okay, and there's an actual sequel. There's a sequel to like the actual Winnie the Pooh. And it's live action. It's through Disney, where they had, I think it was Ewan McGregor, and he played Christopher Robin all grown up. And through the beginning of the movie, it's like Christopher Robin says goodbye to Pooh just at the end, just like in the end of the book. And then he goes off to school. And in that time, his dad dies. And in that time, he has a whole bunch of life stuff happening to him. And he's told to stop drawing and he's told to stop doing all those magical things. And he ends up working, I think, for like a luggage company. And it's just like the bottom line, he's got to fire people and he's really stressed. His daughter loves to draw and he is just not able to connect with her at all because he has lost sight of his childhood. And he is also in like difficulty with his wife because she had fallen in love with him when he was magical and whimsical and he had gotten really serious and all about just the bottom line. So it's like that whole thing. It's like if I grow up, I can't have fun anymore. And we're all told that. We're all told you need to get serious with life. You're a mom now. You need to get serious and practical. You're a dad now. You need to be serious and practical. You're all grown up. You're educated. You're in college or you're now in this company and we need to all just dress like suit and tie and not have fun. And some of my favorite shows that I like watching, like even in like there's corporate is Suits is one. Well, Harvey Specter is a freaking big deal, and he still has fun. He and Mike were bantering all the time. I freaking loved that. Like, they're a really serious law firm that represents really serious clients, and they also had fun. So when you recognize that's like, yeah, you need to be successful, you need to be working towards your goals, and you got to have fun. Because if you're not having fun, you're just miserable and everything falls apart. And then it's like, well, what's not working? Well, what's not working is this. If you are a miserable person and all you're focused on is the bottom line and getting things done in a strategic order, and you've got no emotion and you've got no joy in your life, well, who else are you going to attract? More people who have no joy in their life. And then the other ones you're trying to influence and say, oh, you want to be successful like me because look, I've got all this money and I've got all these riches, and this is what success looks like. But somebody else who has more joy in their life is looking at that and going, yeah, but you hate life. Like, yeah, you got all of the titles and you got the check marks, but you actually hate what you're doing, and I can see it. And that's going to make me not want to do that. Which is why we also need to have possibilities. And I'm going to share about this later at another point. I actually wrote an outline about this, so it is coming. I just don't know when. Maybe this weekend, or maybe I'll be sleeping. I don't know. But the thing is that you have to recognize that if you want to attract people that are fun to work with and are fun to hang out with and fun to be in a relationship with, and like you want to have joyful children, then you need to be in the fun, not just sticking to the rules, not just sticking to the bottom line, not just doing the checklist, but actually enjoying your life. Because otherwise, if you're miserable all the time, that person that you might have attracted when you were fun is going to be like, I'm not having fun here. And you're not changing. You're not in that energy with me. We all attract what we are. You need to understand that. So if you aren't fun, you're not going to have any fun, because you're only going to attract other people who are super serious and not fun. And you're going to hate your life even more. You've got to find the fun. And once you find that little bit of joy, you start to repel those people who only want to complain and bitch and drag you down. And they'll be telling you to go back to being normal and serious, but you won't want to, because you're having too much fun in life. And then you attract the people who are still serious, still doing things, still having their magic out there, but they're also a hell of a lot of fun. I mean, Donald is like a freaking badass at what he does, and he's super fun. I mean, we were talking about Winnie the Pooh today. Like this is the thing, is like, you can be in with successful, powerful people and they're not all boring. So you need to get out of that mindset of, if I go for the next level or I go and do more success in my life, that I'm going to suddenly be boring. No, you don't have to do that. I'm really freaking itchy. I have no idea why, but something's going on. And I know that the solar flares are coming up. So I can already kind of feel it today, even in my dream space. And that's the point, though, is that I know something might be coming this weekend. I don't know what. Could be, maybe it doesn't happen that way. And if it does, if I end up with another freaking headache from these solar flares, I'm going to do the same thing that I did last week, which is, it was very interesting. I'm like, okay, I'm going to pretend this is like a roller coaster. This is where you find the fun. And I do this with my clients too, with labor. It's like, you can either be hanging on as you're going up this peak to the sharp point where they're going to drop you, and it's going to like be like, oh my gosh, like what the hell? Or you can be like, whee, Okay, here it comes. Okay, here's the intense part. Okay, breathe, breathe. Okay, I'm going to breathe through this intense part and then I'm going to let it go. Well, that's what I was doing with this headache and this intense energy that was coming in because there was a lot that keeps coming in. I'm like, okay, okay, it's building. Okay, it's building. All right, hold it. Okay, it's ebbing off. Okay, I can go through this. And it's like, I don't know when the next wave is going to hit. I don't know what else is coming. I don't know how intense this is going to get. And I'm treating it like a roller coaster. In fact, I don't care how dizzy I am. I'm going to pretend that I'm on a spinny ride because it's the same sensation. It's just that I'm technically in my bed, but it feels like I'm on a spinny ride. So I'm just going to pretend I am. And you can do that. You can pretend you're somewhere else even as you're doing the thing that you hate. You can pretend that you're working towards something big and fantastical in the future rather than where you are at right now. So I can pretend that I am packing up stuff to move to a really, really nice place on the beach rather than just getting rid of a whole bunch of stuff in the back room because it's a whole mess. And I can also look at like how the space is going to look when it's done. And then that keeps me motivated. And the same thing, like with anything, any drudgery that I have to do as a mom. I mean, I have to clean up a lot of the kids' messes. I can focus on what it's going to look like when it's done and how I'm going to use the space after and how awesome it's going to be to have my house clean all weekend while my kids are gone for probably until Monday. I haven't quite checked in with their dad yet, but it's possible because it's a long weekend that the kids won't be home. And I am going to have possibly 3 days all by myself that I can just do whatever I want. And I mean, I will probably spend them in bed. And that's awesome because my bed is really comfortable. And I also put new sheets on the bed recently. That's like, it's more luxury. And the kids, like, they took one look at it, like, Mommy, those sheets are so comfortable. The only reason I really put them on was because it was getting warmer. And they're like kind of satiny, but they keep me cooler than the other ones, the other Egyptian cotton ones. It's a little bit cooler to sleep in. And now the weather has changed again. Oh, Vancouver, how we love to keep changing our weather around. It was so hot and now it's kind of cloudy and I might need to put an extra layer on my bed or something. But yeah. So that's the thing though, is that when you find that little bit of joy and be like, okay, I may end up having to stay in my bed all weekend. Well, how can I make that more enjoyable? Well, I'm going to have fresh sheets on the bed and it's going to be nice and soft. And I'm going to put my computer by my bed. And if I wake up from my trance, I'll go and I'll have an insight and I'll be able to have that. Or maybe I'll have my headphones charged so I can listen to music as I'm laying in bed and what kind of food I want to order and planning ahead for that. And again, this is what I do with my clients because some of them, they're like, well, I'm going to be at the end of my pregnancy. I'm going to be uncomfortable. And it's like, well, how can we make that enjoyable? Like, yes, you're probably going to have to slow down. And the same thing in postpartum. I don't want you out of bed for the first week. You need to be resting. So how can we make that enjoyable for you? How can we make that not I should be out and doing this instead of what my body is telling me to do? Because first and foremost, before you even are looking for the fun, sometimes your body is going to tell you to rest. And if you don't, it's just going to get worse. So when I recognize that I'm getting kind of sleepy or that something is coming through, I'm like, okay, I could get this done. I do have my long to-do list and I have my backup plan and my other backup plan. And I'm going to have fun no matter what happens. No matter what happens, if a certain thing doesn't happen the way I want it to, It's okay because it's not like it's never going to happen. It's just like it's not now. And I can still find joy where I'm at. So that's the thing you really need to recognize, though, is that wherever you're at, no matter what is coming at you, you can find some little bit of fun in it. You can whistle while you work. You can sing the happy working song. You can be scrubbing the floors and dealing with wicked stepmothers and still Sing Sweet Nightingale and feel good where you're at and do that. And nobody can actually take that away from you. No matter what you're doing, no matter where you're at, no matter how much people try to pile stuff on you, you are in charge of your own perception and your own fun. And sometimes that's all you have. Sometimes you're in a really, really dark place, and all you have is the ability to sing a song in your heart. As long as you can sing that song in your heart and you can dance and you can work your way through it, then those dark times can't get to you. Believe me, I was in some dark times. I was in moments like that. And by singing and dancing and finding the beauty and the extraordinary in the ordinary and having that little magical fantasy, I was able to climb out until I could actually see the light. And then I kept going towards it even more until I was the light. And then I now shine that out for others. No matter what the traumas, no matter what the sadness, no matter what the difficulties are, I find the extraordinary, the beauty in the darkness. And it's now 11:23. I am getting kind of sleepy. It's the end of the week too, so that makes sense. And I'm now off. I am off for the rest of the weekend. I don't intend to do too much. Just a reminder though, if you are in the birth space or you do know someone who is planning to become pregnant or already pregnant who wants to have a natural birth, I have 3 videos being dropped tomorrow. And they are on my channel, YouTube at Empowering Moms Birth. That's the handle of it. And they're going to be dropped at about 10 Pacific in the morning. There's going to be 3 of them. First, the getting started introduction to what empowered birth is, where I say, yes, I am actually going to be reading my entire book. Here's how it's going to work. And this is what you want to watch out for. And then the next part is I read my introduction, my actual introduction, the entire thing. I read it out and I have the success stories of where I was at in the empowered birth system and what I did and what I created and how it helped the women around me and basically what's in store as you get further into the book. And the final one, the final video is chapter 1, where I talk about the natural birth traps. And I share a story of a composite character named Kate, who did all of the things that she thought that she needed to do to have a natural birth, everything that she'd been taught from the mainstream, and all of the things that she's like, I don't understand why I got a C-section. And then I go into what that is and why the natural birth traps are so prevalent and how it screws you over and what you need to start thinking about to get out of it. And then after that, every single Friday, a new video is going to get dropped until July. And then when I finish with the final thoughts, there's going to be more. There's going to be more things coming up. But I'm really, really, really excited about this because my book is revolutionary and it is going to help a lot of women. And as I continue to build my programs and I continue to raise my prices and build courses and add to the value stack that I've already created, like I've got so much that I haven't even put out in public yet. And I'm combing through, and that in itself is fun. People would be like, oh, you're going through your old hard drive and you're like basically editing old videos. Like, how is that fun? Well, it's again fun for me because I can go back and watch my old genius and find the pieces of gold that I can go deeper on. And that is fun. A lot of people would find that drudgery and work, and I find it fun. I find it fun to organize my files. I find it fun to go through and reread things because I always find more magic. Magic that I might have overlooked before, magic that I didn't have time or resources to implement before because I was focused on other projects at the time. I'm like, well, that will be put a pin in it. Now I can come back to those things because I have the overall structure. So again, this is the only plug I'm going to give, is that if you do know someone who is trying to become pregnant or planning a pregnancy already, like they're already in their first trimester or they're in their second trimester and they're starting to recognize that the medical system is putting a lot of pressure on them to do things in a non-natural way, and they don't feel intuitively that that's right for them, but they don't know how to advocate, or maybe they've already had a traumatic experience and they're like, I thought I was doing everything right. Why didn't it work? Then have them check out my channel because I'm putting out a lot of that magic and I'm speaking to that specifically because it gets overlooked so often. And when I found that thread and started pulling at it, I found a whole big ball of yarn that I then started to unravel. And then I saw even more magic within that. And like, oh my gosh, this ties to so many things. Like I went down a deep, deep rabbit hole because almost 11 years ago, my son was born and I realized I'd been screwed over and I didn't like it. And when I realized that something has happened and I don't like it, I go and I do research to find out, how did I get screwed over? How did I miss it? I went through that with a fine-tooth comb. I do that with everything because research is fun. Knowledge is fun. Learning is fun. Teaching is fun. And building an empire is fun. And as long as I continue to have fun, I know the rest is just going to fall into place because it's going to inspire others to have more fun. So before I go, I just want to ask, where can you find the fun in your life and what you're doing? And how can you bring more fun into it? All right. It's now 11:29. I'm going to go rest. I love you and talk to you soon. Bye.